You've Got Mail with Andrew Stickel, episode 109. Are you ready to make your law firm a profit-generating machine that will free up your time and skyrocket your impact? With more than 2 decades of business growth experience and having proven that you can be successful while prioritizing your family and your impact, introducing the Profit with Law podcast. I am your host, the creator of the Firm Differentiator 10X Effect, Moshe Amsel. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Profit with Law podcast. I am your host, Moshe Amsel, and I'm bringing to you another guest interview. This is a bonus episode being released on a Wednesday. Normally, we're a Tuesday, Thursday release schedule. So we've got 3 episodes coming to you this week. If you're listening to this in the future, you probably don't care. But for those of you listening to this on time, we're in your earbuds today talking to Andrew Stickel. Andy Stickel is somebody who's becoming a very fast friend of mine. He has been on the podcast. He is a repeat guest here, and I'm not sure if he's the first repeat guest, but he was here in episode 54 talking about marketing. Title of that episode, I believe, is Get More Law Firm Clients Without Getting Screwed by a Marketing Company. And that, I believe, is episode 54. Then we've had him through some of the stuff that we replayed through the podcast. So we had a Q&A session. It's actually our top downloaded episode of all time on the podcast as a replay of our December marketing Q&A from the Law Firm Growth Summit. And I'd have to look up what the episode number is for that. I actually don't know it off the top of my head. So I will get back to you on that. And then in our COVID live stream series, he was a regular participant in those calls. And those were basically episodes 73 through 85 was our COVID live stream series. And he was on a lot of them. Episode 56 is the live marketing Q&A. And I was wrong about the other episode. It was episode 45. Get More Law Firm Clients Without Getting Screwed by a Marketing Company with Andrew Stickel, episode 45. Then we had Marketing and Sales Secrets from Industry Experts with Guy Tsakalakis, Jan Roos, Mark Homer, and Andrew Stickel. That was episode 54. Then we had the live marketing Q&A, episode 56, and then all those COVID live streams. So basically, you guys know who Andy is. If you're new to the podcast, you could definitely go and check out some of those other episodes. So I'm really excited to have Andy here on the show. He's a great marketer. Love the stuff that he does on Facebook with his videos, but he reveals some really interesting tactics with sending physical mail. So definitely stay tuned to that conversation where you're going to learn how to use your information products as a front end to your legal marketing system, your legal marketing funnel. Great conversation with Andy, and I can't wait to share that with you. Before I do, I just want to remind you, if you heard it in the previous episode, if not, if this is the first time you're hearing it, Business by Design, a program by James Wedmore. James Wedmore is my mentor. I'm very dialed into his community. I attend 4 events a year of his. I've spoken on his BBD Live stage twice, and I really believe in everything that he does. His program, Business by Design, is the ultimate Swiss Army knife toolkit playbook for you to implement information products into your law firm. And it is available for sale right now. The cart closes June 25th at midnight Pacific. So you definitely want to act quick. But if you join it through profitwithlaw.com/BBD, through our link, you will get some really super cool extra stuff like a 90-day group coaching program with me, access to a Facebook group with peers who are going through the program, access to our LinkedIn marketing program, our access to our Facebook ads program, a whole number of things that we are doing that we're going to be sending your way. So definitely go check that out. If you go to profitwithlaw.com/BBD, everything that we're including is described there. And we are basically giving you everything but the kitchen sink there. So I'm super excited about it. Check it out. Honestly, if you would like to work with me for 90 days and you're not ready to commit $7,000 to work with me in the 90-day law firm turnaround group coaching program, then this is a great opportunity to buy a $3,000 product and get access to me for 90 days. And you also get access to a super amazing product that's going to be able to propel your growth forward. So profitwithlaw.com/BBD, check it out. And we're going to go into this interview with Andy. I do another intro there, but I wanted to jump in and give this extra double intro. So I'm not going to waste any of your time anymore. Here we go. Andy, take it away. Folks, we've been having a great journey so far. And one of the most important things to understand and talk about is marketing your information product. And marketing your information product can look very different than the way that you're marketing your legal services. And that's why I felt like it was important to have a complete session talking about that. Our guest and expert on this specific topic is Andy Stickel. Now, I know that we have an eclectic, widespread audience today on the summit. So some of you may not know who he is, but many of you, especially the US-based attorneys, probably know him from his videos in your Facebook feed. Andy is one of those people that as soon as you pay attention to one of the things that he's done, he basically never will leave you alone ever again. And I love that about him. And I love that I continually see him coming up in my feed. That's an indicator for me to know what volume that person is doing on Facebook advertising and their success rate, right? Like, you can't keep spending money if that money is not coming back to you. So I thought of no better person than to bring Andy here to highlight on this particular session. But I also want to get into what Andy's doing as far as information products, because I think that you can learn a ton. He doesn't run a law firm, but he runs a marketing agency. And how does the marketing agency and his information products business work off of each other? Because I think that that's going to help highlight how you can implement information products and work your law firm services off of that. So Andy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be back.
All right. Awesome. Andy is he's been on multiple events of ours, and every time he blows everybody's minds. So we're going to try to do that again today. Andy owns the marketing agency Social Firestarter. And Andy, if you can just give us a little bit of a backstory of how you got into information products specifically from that marketing agency, and then we'll talk about what that's made possible for you, what it's done for you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so what I own an agency. We do marketing for about 70 law firms, give or take one or two. And the problem with a client-based business, and I mean, I love my clients, but as anyone knows, when you have 70 clients, you have 70 bosses, essentially, so you may own your own business, but you still have to answer to people. You still have to do meetings. You still have to do phone calls, emails. You have to produce results, all that type of stuff, and what I wanted a way that I could increase my, I honestly, frankly, make more money without having to bring on more clients. So that's when I started thinking, okay, well, what if I just, instead of bringing on more clients, what if I started teaching lawyers how to create more, or how to do their own marketing? And that's really kind of why I got into it. That was probably 3 years ago now. And, we've done, well over 7 figures with the course that I created, but it hasn't been as simple as a lot of people would have made it out to be when you just start. It's, that old, that graphic where it's like what people think success looks like, and it's a straight up and arrow, but what it actually looks like is just like a tangled mess. That's really exactly what it is. It's a different animal than, how you would market any business, be it a law firm or a marketing agency or anything. But when you actually get it dialed in, it's a huge opportunity. And the nice part about it is that it's mostly profit, because if you're selling digital information, you're basically paying for ads, and you have and the ads, or the product fulfills itself because it's videos that you created one time. And then from there, it's just about scaling it and selling more and more and more. So it's really interesting, but again, it creates some interesting problems that, if you're going to be successful in anything, life is all about solving problems. And I think when you solve enough problems, then you get to be a millionaire. That's that's what somebody told me once, and I think that's exactly right.
Yeah. So I love that we went through this, and what I want to the first thing I want to point out is, have you seen people come from your information product side? In other words, they bought a course from you, they're doing things themselves, and then they said, hey, I don't want to do this myself anymore. Here, can you do it for me?
Yeah, we get a lot of people like that. I would say probably a third of our agency is people that bought my course and then ascended to the next level. And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. There's a concept called a value ladder. And my agency is part of that value ladder. The course is part of that value ladder. My book, How to Get More Law Firm Clients, is part of that value ladder. And basically what that means is that as people consume more and more of your content and more of your services, the bottom, you can picture it almost looking like steps. The bottom steps are very, very inexpensive or free. And then a lot of people will consume them. And then as they go up the value ladder, the services start costing more money and more money and more money. And what ends up happening is less people buy, but as things get more expensive and less people buy, but you end up making more money at the top. So if you look at kind of illustrate my value ladder, at the very bottom is all my free content. So there's my podcast, my videos, my Facebook group, my daily Q&As, all that type of stuff. That's and it's completely free. You don't have to pay anything to see any of that content. The next rung on my value ladder are my free plus shipping offers. So like this book right here is a free plus shipping offer. Basically, all you have to do is go to freebookforlawyers.com, enter your information, and I send you a book for free. All you do is pay for the shipping. I've got a USB drive that teaches you how to rank your law firm in the Google Maps. It's a 25-part course. It's completely free. All you have to do is pay for shipping. Same thing with a Facebook ads course. So those are really low-hanging fruit, but it also, fewer people will purchase them because it does require pulling your credit card out of your wallet and then making a purchase. So more people buy those, but fewer people buy those than consume the free content. But now the cool part about that is I've also identified who my buyers are. So then the next rung on the value ladder is going to be my course, which my course is it's a decent investment. It's not cheap, but you also get what you pay for. And it's course, it's coaching. There's a small done for you element in it, and there's also and then you also get a free ticket to a live event where I actually work with you one-on-one, which is really cool. And then after that, the next rung is hire my agency. And the agency, again, it's not cheap. It's more expensive than the course. But that's essentially, what the value ladder looks like. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of they don't have that value ladder. They don't know what people are ascending to next. And that kind of screws them up from the beginning, because if you don't have that natural ascension, then you don't know where you're taking people. And people kind of get confused also about what the next thing is.
Yeah, I love that you highlight the value ladder. I thought it's something that I certainly don't talk about enough, and just assume that people understand. And I'm wrong for doing that, because it is, this, although this value ladder and this marketing strategy could work going straight to the law firm services, you can give free content, and then from the free content, drive them to hopefully become a client. You can see that there's missing pieces. Like you're trying to take a leap and jump over the Grand Canyon instead of building a bridge across and taking steps and walking across. And I think that that's why information products can be so powerful in your legal practice, because if you're trying to get somebody from sharing knowledge with them to becoming a client, it's so much easier to walk them through this process of, hey, make this small investment with me, make a larger investment with me. Okay, have us do it completely for you, and it's going to cost a lot more than that. So you almost are getting them ready for that larger price point, and that larger investment, and they're arriving at that decision that they need you because they've already tried all these other things. They've exhausted their other options, and they're getting to that point where, okay, I don't want to do this myself anymore, or I don't want to be holding this bag. I want to hand it off to somebody else, and I'm willing to pay for that. So I think that it's incredibly powerful to do that, and it changes the way that you market your firm.
Think about it like a relationship. You're married, right?
Yep.
You didn't propose to your wife on the first date,
Nope.
and if you did, she probably would have said no, So like that's how people are. You need to, especially if you're gonna, because lawyers especially have been just burnt by so many marketing companies that it's just what you have to do is you have to prove that you're somebody that is worthy of their trust, and that doesn't happen on the first interaction. That's why I create so much free content. And it's so that people will know, like, and trust me. And then they'll dip their toe in the water. They'll buy my, we'll go on a first date. They'll buy my book, and then from there, I just kind of ascend, and everything that I do provides, the other thing is I over deliver with everything that I do. I mean, honestly, you could read my book and never have to hire me. And I did that intentionally because the thought is that there's going to be people that are going to read my book and they're just going to do it themselves. And that's fine, because those people were probably never going to be clients anyway, but there's going to be a lot of people that read my book and then they want to ask more questions and they need help and they need us to do some of it for them and things like that. And those are your ideal clients. And, it's just worked really well. I've been running these free plus shipping offers for a long time. And the cool part is that you can actually liquidate your ads with the free plus shipping offers, or at least offset your ad costs, which is good because, like you said, I spent a lot of money on ads. So I'd like to get some of that back before I even make a big sale,
Yeah, let's talk about liquidating your ad costs, because this is a big issue. And I see a lot of attorneys who are getting into this idea of marketing through front-end free information, trying to get people into their law firm. One of the things that they're finding, and they don't even recognize that this is the problem, is that they have this mounting advertising expenditure that they are making, but the return might be months down the road. Yeah. Because they're hitting somebody early in the process. They may not even need an attorney yet. At some point they're going to. So they're building this brand of awareness, this brand of people who are tuned into them and who they are. But the payoff can be a long ways down the road. And we need to find a way to start to get money back in revenue in from that ad spend. Otherwise, you need to have some pretty deep pockets to really be able to make that work. And I think that that's a missing piece of the puzzle in the people who are trying to do this themselves, are trying to go out there and create YouTube videos and create, all kinds of things. And then they want to build, boost their subscriber base, boost the people who are watching it. So now they start paying for advertising to do that. And there's no real strategy of bringing money back in. So can you talk a little bit about what does that look like to liquidate your ad spend, and how does somebody go about doing that?
Yeah. So what I've seen is I've seen a lot of people try to do like a free ebook, like an ebook, like 5 things you should do after an accident, or lawyers will even write. I've seen lawyers that have written entire books, like several 100-page books about what to do after an accident. And the problem is that I just feel like that's very narrow, because you can, like, it's anyone that needs that information is really good. But the problem is that proportionally to the number of people that are going to see that ad, it's not enough to liquidate your ads. So what you have to do, the first thing you have to think about is the offer, right? And people associate a higher value with a physical item than they do with just a digital download. That's why I have a course. It's a 25-part video series. I could throw that thing in Kajabi and basically just give you the login and say, hey, here it is. It's completely free. But I don't do that. What I do is I have a USB drive that I physically ship to them. And basically what that does is that allows me to say, where can I send this? Where would you like to receive this item? And there's a lot of psychology that goes into that, because people love getting mail. So what I always tell lawyers is they've got to have something that people actually can find value in and that they're actually going to use. So like, and the other thing you have to consider is that it kind of needs to be small and light. So one of my favorite things is courses. Is you do a course completely free, and now obviously this is the way that I do it is basically I'll take my big course and I'll just take one little piece from that big course and then I'll put it and then I'll give that part away for free, you know. But it's not like they're getting the entire course, but they're getting a piece of that course. So like how to run Facebook ads, right? So that's a big part, how to actually go into the Facebook dashboard and how to turn the knobs and all that type of stuff. But you know, if you want to get how do you actually get the right message? How do you figure out who you're actually talking to? How do you figure out what they actually want? Well, that's what's actually in my course, right? So what I do is I'll create, you know, a 25-part video series or whatever, and it's literally just me recording my screen and teaching how to do something, how to get some sort of result. And then basically I sell that for $9.97. And I say, look, it's free. Just cover the shipping for me to send it to you. So here's the economics of how that works out. I go to Amazon and I get these flat USB drives. They're the shape of they look like a credit card, but they're flat, right? And they cost like $2.83. They're 1 gig. So what I do is I compress my videos so that all of them will fit on a 1 gigabyte flash drive. I pay my well, she's 14 now. For a while, I was paying my 12-year-old $20. And I was teaching her, okay, here's all these USB drives. Here's how you copy the files from the computer to the USB drive. Go do it. And she was happy to get $20, you know. And then what I do is, so the economics, how it works out, is the drives cost $2.83. Because it's flat, I can ship it for the cost of a stamp. So a stamp costs, what is a stamp nowadays? 89 cents?
Like 58 cents.
58 cents. Yeah, I don't even know what it is because I don't deal with the shipping. And then I get a poly bubble mailer, right? Just so it doesn't get beat up in the mail. So all in, I'm about $4, and it's $9.97. So that means that I've got $5 that I can play with, where I can basically sell these things, and I've got $5 to pay for the ad. Now, I very, very, very rarely ever sell one for $5. It usually costs me anywhere from, you know, $15 to $25. So if I'm selling an information product, then what I can do is I can then add upsells in there, which are digital, and they're all digital products. So I think, okay, what are ways that I can make this faster or get it done better? You know, like, you know, and those are the upsells. So for example, my Facebook ads course, I have, I've got the Facebook ads course. It's $9.97. And then I immediately have an order bump, and the order bump, think of it like, would you like fries with that? Right. It's basically you're checking out and add this to your order to enhance it. Right. So the order bump I have there, it's a digital download that I created. It's called 500 blog post topics for lawyers. Right. And it's basically, if you're going to run Facebook ads and you need ideas for content, here's 500 ideas for content, right? And that literally took me, I don't know, an hour of sitting down, typing it up. I sent it to a graphic designer and I sell it for $37. And it's a digital download, so it literally cost me nothing. And that gets purchased about, it's about 30% of the time. So now on average, my $9.97, now my average cart value is $19.97 because on average, I'm making that extra $37. Then the next thing, like I said, we're thinking about how can we do it easier, better, or faster. The next page is going to be, okay, so one of the biggest parts about creating a Facebook ads campaign is you need to build your landing pages. So, and that's the hardest part. It's not difficult. It's just time consuming. So for $97, my team will build the landing pages for you and will even write the content for $97, right? And about a third of the people take that. So now my average cart value is close to $50 every time. And now if I spend $25, $35, $45 just to get a sale, now I'm breaking even or even making a couple dollars profit, you know? And that's kind of the whole thing. Now, if you're running a law firm, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So what you can do with a law firm is you've got to make it like a really, really desirable item. And you can definitely do that. So like if you're like a personal injury attorney, one of the things that I was thinking personal injury attorneys would be really smart to do is go to AliExpress, which is a drop shipping company from India, or is it China? It's either India or China. I can't remember. But basically, you can get like pretty much everything they sell on Amazon. You can get over there in bulk. So you can get different items like a cell phone holder, right? Like lawyers are always trying to get personal injury attorneys are always trying to get car accident cases. So you can get a cell phone holder that clips to the air vent, and you can even bring it to a screen printing company, have them screen print your name and phone number on the inside, and you can do those at free plus shipping. And those will probably cost you like $2 or $3. And then those will probably cost you like $2 or $3 from AliExpress, and then maybe another $1 or $2 to have screen printed. And then you could do those at $9.97. And that's something that people want, even if they haven't been in an accident. Everybody wants a free cell phone holder. Another thing you can do is they have these like those window smashers for cars if you end up in the water. Well, they have one that it's a cell phone charger, battery bank, or power bank, and also a window smasher in one. And it goes in the cigarette lighter of your car. So you can get those for a couple dollars, and then you can screen print your name on there, and then you can give it out for free. What's cool about that is, one, it allows you to build a list. Two, it allows you to offset your ads. And three, now they have your name and phone number in their freaking car if they get into a car accident, which is where they're actually going to, they're going to be in their car if they get into a car accident. So like you can do stuff like that. And then another thing, like I had a criminal defense attorney one time. This is the best idea I've ever heard. He was giving away the scent of alcohol gum because basically like lawyers or police officers say, well, I detected the scent of alcohol, So then he'll say, well, what does that smell? Well, my client, so it's kind of a gimmick, but it's kind of funny too. But we've done stuff like we've done all kinds of stuff. It's basically just figuring out like what's beneficial to your client. And even if, and then how do you get that in front of them? So it's all about being creative, but a physical item is the best way to do it. It doesn't typically work as well with a digital download unless it's like a really, really good digital download. But I've never been able to make free plus. Well, actually, it doesn't even work because you can't do free plus shipping because now there's nothing to ship. But that's one of the best ways to do it. That's one of the most successful forms of marketing I've had is the free plus shipping model.
All right, awesome. So basically what you do is you come up with this idea. Now, when coming up with this idea, are you looking at something that is a precursor to them needing your services? Or are you trying to get like your example of the stuff in the car for the personal injury attorney, that they don't necessarily know that they need a personal injury attorney when they get into an accident. So is there a way that you can cross the divide there to make sure that they're educated about that? How do you go about doing that? Your name is in there, but people don't necessarily make that connection of, oh, I got into an accident. That's what a personal injury attorney is for.
Yeah, well, the way you do that is in your follow-up. So like we said, you're not gonna get married on the first try. You know what I mean? So basically, the nice part about this is now you have their contact information and you can continue to follow up with them organically. You can get them into a Facebook group. You can do all that type of stuff. So that's where that's really the value. The value is having their email address and then being able to email them over and over and over again. So by doing that, hopefully you'll actually teach them why they need a personal injury attorney in the first place.
Okay, so you have this initial offer, it's free plus shipping. Maybe you've got a couple of order bumps on there to liquidate your ad spend. From there, you're in there, they're in your system, and now you start to email them on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. Any specific cadence of those emails, any specific length of time you're doing that for? Does it ever end? How does somebody navigate that?
Well, so so let me clarify. Are we talking about it for a law firm, or are we talking about for selling a digital info product? Because it's two different things. Well, it's different strategies.
That's a good question. So I think that we've established that in the value ladder, the information product sits in between the legal services of the firm and the front end entry. So we're now walking through this process. So now I've purchased this front end item. I haven't yet purchased this info product. So my guess is that that's where we're at. Mm-hmm. We're now going to try to sell this info product, which some of those people will turn into clients for the law firm.
Sure. Yeah. So with follow-up emails, when I'm trying to actually make a sale, right? Not when I'm just trying to nurture, because there's different types of emails. There's nurture emails, and then there's actually trying to make a sale, right? There's two different things that you do. There's value and there's testimonials. And the value videos should be answers to objections as to why they didn't buy disguised as value, right? So like, for example, let's say one of the objections that I get all the time from lawyers is they think that running Facebook ads, or they think social media is unethical, right? They think they're going to get in trouble with the bar association if they start running social media. So what I'll do is I'll go out and I'll actually do an interview with somebody that will talk all about how social media actually is very ethical. And, you know, there's obviously certain things you want to watch out for, but as long as you do these things, you're fine, right? And it'll be a lot of value. But what I'm doing there is I'm thinking, okay, what was the objection? The objection was they think it's unethical. Okay, so what content can I create that provides value, but also answers and overcomes that objection, right? And by doing that, I've now provided value and I've overcome that objection. And then, you know, so those are the types of value videos, right? Another one, like for me, because I'm teaching lawyers how to do social media, another objection would be like, I can't create videos because I don't have time. I don't have, 2 hours a day. Well, I'm going to show you how you create videos in 5 minutes per day. And you can do this entire strategy that I'm teaching you, and it's only going to take you 5 minutes per day. Or maybe another objection is I don't have fancy video equipment. Okay, well, I'm going to show you how you film all your videos and everything with just your iPhone, and you don't even need you don't need an editor, you don't need a camera, you don't need anything. You don't even need a microphone. As long as you use your iPhone, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. And that's the types of videos that I create. It's like you literally have to sit down and think, what is every single possible objection and every single possible reason that somebody would say no to buying my thing? And honestly, you can do this for your law firm also. What is every single reason that they would not hire my law firm? What is every single objection? And how do I create some sort of content that provides them value while also overcoming that objection, right? So that's the easiest way to do it. And most of my videos that I do, I've got probably like 700 videos. I would say at least 50% of them are overcoming objections that I already know lawyers have. So I'm just trying to overcome objections. That's basically what I'm just trying to do, is trying to prove them, trying to trump whatever story they have going on in their head that as to why they can't do the thing that eventually I want them to hire me for, right? The other side is social proof. So you always want to have like one thing that I do, and I don't think most people do this, is I actually have a Trello board. Every time somebody says anything good about me, every time somebody posts a result of a test, posts a result that they got from me, every time someone says they love my book, every time, and I've got literally like hundreds of testimonials. And basically what I'll do is I'll go in, I'll pick a testimonial, and then I'll write an email about it. And I'll, especially if it's like related to, the testimonial really should relate to what you're trying to get them to do, which for me, it's book a call. Or if like buying my book, it can be, the testimonials about somebody who read the book and they love the book. And now they, and now they're getting clients. So I'll do that. And I'll say, if you want to get clients just like this attorney did, click here and buy the book, So those are the two biggest things. It's all about objection handling and testimonials, social proof. Those are the only two things that matter once they've already seen the offer. And honestly, it's like that for your legal services. It's like that for everything. That's once they see an offer, it's just about overcoming objections and providing social proof that it works.
Now, do you ever do like a promotion specifically into the information product that you're selling? The terminology that the industry calls it is a launch. That you can see if anybody tunes into any of the big names out there who sell information. I mean, like you look at Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins and people like that. They have these massive launches that they do, and they just do it once or a couple of times a year, and they just bring a whole bunch of people through it, and they go through the selling process. Do you do that at all in your business? And how do you compare what you're describing, which seems like something that you can just take somebody through? Anybody who comes in, I just take them on this journey and I get to the sale at the end of it, versus having this massive influx of people coming at one time.
Yeah, I don't do launches just because to do launches, you really have to create new products all the time. And I don't want to create new products all the time. So I'd rather focus on one problem and focus on really dialing in the message and just knocking that problem out and just knocking that product out of the park. So like the course that I sell is the same course that I launched 2 years ago. But it's evolved, and my marketing has evolved and and it's been updated. But, if I jump from course to course to course to course to course, then everything would just kind of be okay. And what ends up happening is you do the launch, you put all this work into the launch, and you make a lot of money right up front, and then it trickles off and you don't do anything. So then you say, okay, I gotta do something else. I gotta come up with another product, right? So then you ramp up, you do another product, and it makes a lot of money, and then it drops down. I'd rather just steadily make money the entire time and actually start making more money and more money and more money, because I'm getting really, really good results that I can, I'm starting to build up social proof for my coaching program and all. Like my coaching program, we had a client last month who got 300 leads in 38 days, and he closed 24% of those. And he's a personal injury attorney. And this is in the middle of the freaking pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't really develop the product and put the time in to really make it like amazing, then you're never going to have steady income. It's always going to be up and down and up and down and up and down. And honestly, if you keep doing those, each launch is going to be a little lower than the last, until you're really not making any money. So what I try to do instead, because like I've got about 20,000 lawyers that follow me, that read my daily emails, but there's 1.2 million lawyers in the country. I haven't even scratched the surface, in terms of people that are following me. So what I try to do is I focus my time on, first of all, improving what I already have rather than creating new stuff. Because like I said, my value add is pretty simple. It's free stuff to my book or my free course or whatever, and then my main course, and then my agency. Like I don't have this crazy value ladder, So basically, I spend my time perfecting that, helping the students that are going through it, so that I can get better testimonials, so that I can sell more, and then also creating ads, creating content, answering objections, creating videos, all of which overcome the objections, and then running Facebook ads and scaling them, and then and then I also have other time that's spent dealing with just other issues that come about as every win creates new problems. As I'm now selling a lot more of the course, but the problem is now I need to have a salesperson. I need to, do customer service and all that type of stuff. And it just creates new problems. It's not bad. It's just, every stage of business causes new problems. It's like if a law firm that is a sole practitioner all of a sudden got 150 new cases in 1 month. That would be great, but it's going to cause some problems because you can't handle all that. So you've got to put systems in place. You've got to hire people. You've got to do all kinds of stuff so you can deal with this next level that you've made it to,
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way that you gave that example, because that's exactly what happens is if you have this, and that's one of the limitations of a legal practice is if you hit the ball out of the park with your marketing, all of a sudden you find that your customer service declines because you can't handle all the work. You're left scrambling to try to fill the spots for it. That's the power of an information products business on the front end of it is you've got all these people you could bring in mass to your information product, deliver it to them because there's no cost in the delivery and it doesn't cause any increase in the work that you need to do. And once you start to get data on how many of those are going to come into your practice, eventually you can know what the future growth of your practice is going to look like and kind of get a leg up on that. We've interviewed some attorneys who are doing information products successfully that have eliminated any of their marketing directly into the firm. They don't need to spend any money on marketing into the firm because they have everybody coming in through the information products that they're doing and the halo effect that it has. So basically what's happening is that even people who don't become customers of the information product, they see that part of it out there and that attracts them to the firm. So they're not needing to promote the firm itself in that process. Do you have any thoughts on that aspect of it, or in any way that somebody can be even more strategic with it?
Yeah, well, so when it comes down to advertising costs, that's completely right. I mean, like a lot of times people will say, well, what should my how much should I spend on Facebook ads? And that's really the wrong question. The question is, how much does it cost you to acquire a customer? And once you know that, then if it costs you $500 to acquire a customer and you want 20 clients, then just do the math. I guess how it works. But there's also going to be a learning phase where you're just going to have to accept that you're paying for data at this point, you know, and you're also paying to learn. I mean, that's, you know, probably the first couple months where I started doing this, I was running ads just to see what would work. And I spent a lot of money on it. And eventually I made a profit, but I was negative for a little while. But it's like everything else. I mean, like, you know, you pay to go to college, you pay to go to law school. You don't get these skills for free and without any effort. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not, you know, so like if you're going to do this stuff, you've got to learn a little bit about what works and what is. Now there's some principles that I teach my students now that I wish I would have known back when I started this, because it would have saved me a lot of time and money. But the reality is regardless, even if you get your ads right, you don't know how much it's going to cost. Like for me, I know after doing this for 2 years, I know that if I'm getting webinar registrations for under $30, then that's an ad that's doing pretty well for me. But we also have clients that get like cheat sheet opt-ins for 35 cents, you know, and it's just because they're targeting a different demographic. If you're targeting lawyers versus if you're targeting a bigger area, and it's also about, you know, kind of what you're talking about. So you've got to figure out, you know, all of these aspects, like what is your cost going to be? And then on top of that, when, you know, what percentage of people that take your offer, what percentage of them will book a consultation? And then what percentage of consultations do you close? You know, and once you have all those numbers, then things kind of start coming into focus. And then once you're in focus and you really understand that consistently, we get down, you know, so like, I'll give you a perfect example. For my business, we try to get webinar registrations at $30 a piece. And what that does is that gets people on my email list, that gets them to watch the webinar, and I get my first kind of swing at them, right? And then typically it'll cost me about anywhere from $750 to $1,000 to get a phone call booked for my on a cold ad, right? And then we start running remarketing ads. And I know that on a remarketing ad, it's going to cost me about $200 to get a phone call booked. And remarketing is basically somebody that watched my webinar but didn't book a call. So I know kind of what my numbers are. I know on average that it costs me about $400 to get a phone call booked, right? So then I also know that my salespeople close at about 60%. So that means that, you know, if it's so I start knowing what my numbers are, and then I know I'm profitable and all that type of stuff. So now if I want to get, you know, 20 new coaching clients this month, then I know approximately how much I need to spend. And I also know if one of my numbers is out of whack, like what's happening right now. It's like for some reason my Facebook ads are just all out of whack and they're just costing me too much money. So I know on the front end, I've got to fix my webinar opt-in cost per opt-in, because it's closer to like $65, $70 right now. So I need to focus on that. And I know that that's the problem why my business is not making as much money as I should be right now. It's because it's costing me way too much to get a webinar opt-in. So it's like you have to kind of understand all these different pieces of it. And each piece, once you know your numbers, it gets really easy to identify how much you need to spend. And then when things aren't going right, it makes it really easy to figure out where the problem is and what you need to focus on.
Yeah, totally. And I think that knowing your numbers is really important. And the only way to know your numbers is to actually go through and create it and do it, and spend some money on it to get it going, and get the process, you know, fine tuned so you can actually see what's going on. What I like to do is I like to look at the very beginning at just the most basic of numbers. And the first on the cost side is the cost per lead. Like, what is it costing me to actually get a lead into my funnel, my journey I'm taking them through? And then what is my earnings per lead? So when I bring all those people through and I have, you know, if I brought in $100,000 and I took, 100 people through that journey, I know that my earnings per lead is $1,000. So now I can turn back and I can say, okay, if my cost per lead is $50, well, I'm making plenty of money on that. I'm okay with that. Yeah. And that's the problem is if you're not familiar with your numbers, the cost per lead could be very scary. In certain industries, it could cost you $50, $100, $200 to bring a lead through the door. Yeah. If you're selling a very large high ticket item on the back end of that and converting it at a decent rate, then you can still be making some good money with that. Or you might find the opposite. You might find that your cost per lead is 50 cents but you're only making $2 on your earnings per lead, in that funnel. So my rule of thumb is you don't want to spend more than 25% of your total earnings on that initial cost per lead when you're looking at it using that math. And that's a pretty good rule of thumb when you start to think about the rest of your business operation. You have to support that person through the process, even though you don't have to create that information product over and over again. But there is a customer service aspect that as you put more people through, you have to handle more issues with people, billing issues and, refund requests or problems accessing the course or things like that start to come up. That doesn't really come up when you have 5 or 10 people going through it, but you start putting hundreds or thousands of people through it. And now all of a sudden it creates that another role you have to hire for. So you want to make sure that you have the overhead built in there to be able to support the business that's going to come from that. But really you can create the system that's bringing these leads through the door and kind of leave it there, right? So how actively do you need to manage this once you have it set up, once you have your campaign set up and leads are coming through the door? What are you finding as far as needing to watch over this and make sure everything is okay?
Well, it's all about putting systems in place. It also depends on what scale you're at, so if you're spending $50 a day on ads, it's not the end of the world. I've had days where I'll spend $5,000, $10,000 a single day. When that's happening, you got to watch it, because imagine, somebody's just taking $10,000 out of your bank account every single day. It's a lot of money. So you got to really babysit it, make sure things are going well, but that's also, you make more money that way. If I'm doubling my money, and at $50 a day and I make, if I double my money and I make $50 on a $50 spend, that's cool. If I in a single day can spend 10,000 and make 10,000, that's pretty cool also, you know what I mean? But with that higher amount, it just takes more babysitting, So what I found is that when it comes to ads, you've always got to be tweaking your ads. I have some ads. So what I do is I create a lot of ads, as you've seen. You've probably seen tons of ads from me. The majority of my ads don't work, believe it or not. I would say I have to do 10 ads to get one that really works. But when it works, it'll last for 2 years. So you have to create a lot. I just launched another ad, and when I say works, it doesn't completely fail, but meaning works consistently at my numbers, where it's consistently getting lots of webinar registrations across a wide variety of audiences. And then those audiences then go on to book phone calls, So most of my ads don't do that. It doesn't mean that they're failures, but you just have to create a lot of ads. I think I've got, I don't even know how many ads I have going right now. I've got so many different, I bet you I have 50 different ad angles that are running at any given time. That includes front end ads, remarketing ads for my book, ads saying, hey, join my Facebook group, all these different things. So now the more money you spend, the faster those ads are going to burn out. So if you're only spending $50 a day, you can probably get away with one ad that's going to work for a long time. Because the more you spend, the more people you reach. The more people you reach, the fewer people there are that have not seen that ad a bunch of times. So you just have to keep refreshing it, But it's all about having systems. It's like everything else. It's a business. It's like everything else. You've got to have systems in place. You've got to train your team. You've got to get, SOPs and all that type of stuff just to make sure that everything runs smoothly. And when you actually do that, when you do it the right way, then it actually does run pretty smooth. I've got to the point now where basically all I do is I worry about my ads. And I'm training someone that can run my ads for me now. So it's, but it's a business. It's never as easy as people, when I got into this, people were like, oh, you just throw a webinar up and you just sell a course and it's really easy. And yeah, it's not even close to that.
Yeah. And I want to make sure that we highlight that, right? We're not there. I'm not spending an entire day here trying to promote a get rich quick scheme. There's nothing that comes easy. And if it does, everybody would know about it and everybody would be doing it. The reality is that it's going to require some spend. It's going to require some testing. It's going to require perseverance, and it's going to require that you get off your butt and do something, right? And that's the problem is a lot of people, we have ideas and then don't act on them. And I'm a big proponent of taking action. Action creates clarity. And that's why I think that with giving you the right information here, and at the end of the day, you're going to find out an offer of how you can work with me for 90 days for free. Work with me for 90 days to help you implement your first information product in your law firm. And what that requires is that you dedicate some time, you dedicate some effort, you actually do the things that you need to do to get this off the ground and get it running. And, so that's where I think that, this all leads to is that you got to do it. Another thing that you said, which is really, it's really insightful, is you can have information products can be a way to position increasing your budget for your marketing. Mm-hmm. Right. So if nothing else, if it doesn't become a moneymaker for you, at least you can elevate how much you're spending. Like the numbers you're talking about, some people who are watching this are like 10 grand a day in Facebook ads. I can never do that. But the reality is that if you have a plan to liquidate $10,000 in ad spend every day, then you can have a much bigger, massive pipeline of potential business into your law firm. So if the purpose of doing this is strictly to elevate the law firm and not necessarily to make money on the information product side of it, then you don't need to use the math that I was providing.
And I didn't start at 10,000. I started at $30 a day, and you just, as you know your numbers, you get more confident that, okay, I spent $30 a day. Now I'm going to go to $100 a day, see what happens, and then if it works, then maybe and what I do is I'll increase budget by 20% every couple of days, as long as it's still working, until it continues being profitable. And I'll leave you with this. In business, whoever can spend the most to acquire a customer will always win. That's just what it comes down to, is whoever can spend the most to acquire a customer will always win. That's why a lot of times you hear attorneys saying, I can't compete with these guys with these huge marketing budgets. Why is that? It's because they can spend a lot more than you can to acquire a customer. So they're winning. So the way that you do that is if you don't have a huge marketing budget, you liquidate your marketing budget. So it's basically recycling into itself. So you spend the money, then it comes back. Then you spend the money, then it comes back. And now when you have a system that works, now you can spend the most to acquire a customer.
Absolutely. Andy, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your generosity as always. And just painting the picture in reality. And this is the way it is. I personally am not spending $10,000 a day. I hope one day to be with you. But for this event, our marketing budget for this event, we were spending $1,500 a day going into this event. And we do that. Sometimes we increase our budget depending on what we have coming up. And I think that there's so many different ways to skin the cat there, and you can get overwhelmed by that, which is why what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to position you to be able to just hit the ground running. And you're going to see that what we're going to do is leading from this event, we're going to go straight into a promotion that James Wedmore is running, his Business by Design program. We're literally going to take you step by step through this process of implementing this in your law firm. So today is all about really understanding what an information product can do for you and how it plays out and the different things that you need to start thinking about. And then you're going to, at the end of the day, you're going to be like, okay, how do I do this? Well, I have the solution for you, and we're going to present that. And I want you to understand that many of you are going to say, this is a great idea, and not do anything about it. And that's the whole point here is that the people who do are the ones who are going to come out the winners. And you have to start asking yourself, is this for me? Is this something that I want to do? Is this something that I want to implement in my firm? So Andy, how do people get in touch with you? What's the best place to get them to start following you? Is that your YouTube channel? What's the number one spot for them to go check you out?
YouTube, search Lawyer Marketing with Andrew Stickel, or go to freebookforlawyers.com and grab my book. That'll get you in my sales funnel, and you can kind of see behind the scenes how I do everything. And basically the book's $7.95, but I actually just started something where I actually delay payment for 30 days. So you get it, you can read the book. And if you read the book and you don't like it, then just send me an email. I won't even charge you the $7.95, but you can keep the book. So it's, just getting creative with how to do these self-liquidating offers. And what's cool about that is by eliminating that risk, I actually now make more money on the book so that I can put it back into my ads, because more people will take it because they feel like it's risk-free, so it's really interesting.
Right. Let me ask you this, Andy, and it's only coming up because you just shared it. What have you noticed as far as how many people are coming and saying, "Hey, I didn't like the book. Don't charge me my $7.95." Are you getting any of that?
I maybe had one over the last year and a half, like literally like one,
Right.
and I've sold thousands of copies of books. So yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's my point. Is
Yeah.
People are afraid to put guarantees in place because, oh my gosh, what happens if I have to actually perform on that
Yeah.
guarantee? What if everybody wants their money back? Well, it's not going to happen. Even if you wrote a shitty book, it's not going to happen because
Hopefully,
a lot of people are not reading it, right?
Yeah, most people don't
Or
read
they're
it.
not going to take the time to reach out to you and say, "Hey, I want my money back." So
It's
a
$8.
guarantee,
Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like people are afraid to spend it, but it's $8. It's kind, you know what I mean? Like, so.
and even if I didn't have a guarantee, if somebody wanted their $8 back, they needed it that badly that it was worth them writing an email to my team and chasing it. Go ahead, take it back. It's okay.
if you don't think this book's worth $8, then I'll happily give it back to you. So cool. All
So
right.
that's awesome. All right.
On here, I appreciate it.
Yeah, Andy, thank you so much. And folks, definitely go get the book. Check Andy out. Check out his YouTube channel. His content is stellar. It's amazing. I love having him on our stuff, and I'm sure we'll have him back on future events as well. So thank you so much, Andy.
Cool.
That's it for this week's episode of Profit with Law. If you have enjoyed the show, please consider sharing it with at least one person. Imagine how many lives we can change if we each shared this episode. Another way to share the episode is on social media. We appreciate your support and look forward to you joining us again next week.